Hello everyone, it's Sabrina from the Combe family, and today we are going to talk about why I will never live in America again. So I know this is going to be a very controversial video, just as the last one might be, but I really wanted to do this video because of the positive experiences that we've had thus far in the 8 months that we've lived here in Kenya. Has it been all sunshine and roses? No, absolutely not. But has it been an amazing experience and something that I want my kids to continue to live in? Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started on the reasons that I will never move back to America. So the first one is the people are so much nicer here. So here, yes, of course, everybody knows that there is a much more hard time financially for many people, especially in the village. However, people here, I'm sorry about the fly, people here are just nicer no matter what, and they are really good at compartmentalizing. So for example, someone might not know how they're going to feed their family that night for dinner, but if they don't have work that day, they will go with their friends to a soccer match in the village and just have fun watching soccer, laughing, making remarks on the game, etc. And they will have a great time, Then they will go back to their family home and then they will worry about how they're going to get the money to provide dinner for themselves and their children that night. So it's just so much different than America in the sense that America is constantly keeping up with the Joneses and having the white picket fence and doing all of those things for what? It's not for a better life, because most of the people in those white picket fence situations and keeping up with the Joneses are very, very, very unhappy and are usually in debt. So why? When me and Safari lived in America, we lived in a one-bedroom apartment, or a studio apartment rather, and we were amazing, like it's less to clean, it's less to deal with, right? It's less to keep hot or keep cold, so you don't have to pay for that situation. And it was just great for us, and I mean, me and my husband and our 2 kids have lived in a studio apartment in the village. So even as our family grows, we still live in a very small space. So that is the first reason why I think that living in Kenya is so much better. People are just nicer. They move at a slower pace and thus they have time for you, Like if you're asking a question about something, you don't understand the price of something or you don't understand what something is, they will stop and help you, As opposed to America, everybody's constantly busy, busy, busy. They don't have time for you. So I really enjoy that about here. People as the saying goes, people stop to smell the roses, people stop to just greet their neighbor, like especially my husband's culture, for his tribe in particular, greetings take like 1 to 2 minutes, like going back and forth with this greeting. I don't know it yet, but I've listened to it many times. So like it's just really heartwarming to see that people stop and don't worry about, oh, I have to go, oh, I'm late for this. They just, oh, okay, if I don't get to the laundry today, it'll get done tomorrow, and I love that mentality. Is it hard for me to adjust to? Yes, still, when somebody says like, oh, I'll be at your house at 2, and then they show up at like 6 p.m., like things like that are definitely hard to adjust to. And I've seen many YouTubers who have moved here or to Tanzania that say the same thing. So yeah, that's definitely an adjustment, but it's definitely a welcomed adjustment, and life is just so much more relaxed and go with the flow here, and I couldn't want more in that regard for my children. The next thing is I put simple life, which we just discussed, simple life of it's not so much the American mentality of getting up, getting the kids ready for school, then getting yourself ready for work, then getting in your car and taking the kids to school, getting to work, okay, then getting home and finding time to clean the house and then make dinner and put some frozen whatever in the oven for dinner. It's not that kind of situation here, like the daily life, especially of a woman in particular, is comprised of household chores. You know, like a woman doesn't typically have a job here, especially in the village. So the woman is taking care of the children. So the children are independent at a very young age in regards to putting on their school clothes, washing their school clothes, making sure they're ready for school on time, walking to school by themselves, very early age. My daughter, when she lived in the village, she was walking at 5-6 years old to school by herself with another 5 or 6 year old. So they are very independent when it comes to that. Then the moms wake up and they might make them some tea, give them some bread, and that is their breakfast, you know. Then they start their day. So they might tidy up the house, they might do laundry, they might wash dishes from the night before, depending on when they wash dishes. They will just do things around their boma, their land, their home. If it's harvesting time, they'll go do the harvest. If it's planting, they'll go do the planting. If not, they'll go hunt and gather. Basically, they will go and scavenge for different foods for that day. So they might know where to get spinach in the village for free, just off the spinach bush. They might know where to get mangoes. They might know where to get different things that they can supplement their food for that day, which is amazing, I think, you know, and those are skills that I want my children to learn. So that goes to our next topic, which is food health. I would never move back to America simply because my children are so much more healthy in Kenya than they could ever be in America. And I know many people will argue with me with this and say it depends on what you feed your children, right? But it is so much more difficult to feed your children consistently healthy meals when you live in America and your child knows what Taco Bell or McDonald's are by 1 or 2 years old, you know, just by seeing the symbol and you taking them there a few times. They understand what that symbol means, you know? So it would be nearly impossible, especially with Safari, to take her to America and not, oh, sorry about that, that was the kitchen, to not give her into her, mom, well, can we just have McDonald's just like 1 day a week, 1 day a month, you know? I already know that would be the situation, you know? So it's so much easier here. We go to little restaurants like mom and pops, which are called hotels here, and we will get vegetarian dishes, you know, chapati, which is the same as tortillas, beans, sukuma wiki, which is collard greens, and other different vegetables in there, you know. And so it's not an issue. Like at hotels, they cook it the same way that you would cook it at home, you know, and you see them cook it in front of your eyes. So it's not this constantly going to fast food places. Since we have become vegan, we have went to one restaurant. No fast food places, no Domino's, no Pizza Hut, no Subway, even though they have those things here. But we have went to one restaurant, and that's because someone paid for our meals and we got vegan dishes there, you know? So it is very much a concern of mine for my family to eat healthy. Am I able to control what my children eat once they become adults? No. But am I able to give them healthy options as children so that they can make the determination of what they like and don't like when they grow up, and hopefully they pick healthy options? Yes, I can do that for my children, and I will continue to do that for my children. So the next one is children learning to be humble and just learning life in general in the village. So that is very important to me, that my children understand life in the village, knowing that if you go to the bathroom in the village, this is a leaf that you can use as toilet paper, and this is a leaf that you better not use as toilet paper, you know what I'm saying? So things like that come so naturally to Georgina, who is from the village, and do not come naturally at all to Safari, who is from American life, you know? And so I want Safari to learn those skills, you know? Georgina knows if she wants a snack, she doesn't just say, oh, grandma, can I have a bag of chips, right? there's nothing along those lines, you know, like, because her grandma can't afford that. So if she wants a snack, she doesn't ask because she knows that she's not going to get anything from grandma. But what she does do is go into the forest in the village and find, I really don't know what this fruit is called, but it looks like little apples, so that's what I call them. But she finds little apples and they eat those. Or they find like green mangoes, like mangoes that are not ripe yet. That's one of their common snacks, and they eat those, you know? So they go out and they scavenge for snacks because they know that they're not going to be given any food of any sort unless it's lunch or dinner, you know? So I think that is amazing that it allows them to think outside the box. I talked about that in my video of why my kids don't have beds currently. They think outside the box when their sheets and blankets are being washed. They only have one blanket to use for under them and around them. So they just cover themselves with the blanket, wrap themselves around, and then lay down. And it serves both purposes. It covers them from the cold ground and it covers them on top for warmth. So same analogy here. I want my kids to be able to be critical thinkers based on the situation and be able to problem solve. Oh, I want a snack. No adult's gonna give me a snack right now. Let me go out and find a snack, you know, and they know which things from which plants they can eat and which things they can't eat. And I really want Safari to learn that and any of our future kids to learn that. So that is one reason that we would never move back to America. I want my kids to understand this lifestyle so that they can be prepared for anything. I always tell my children, I don't care if you decide to be a homeless person or a doctor. I want you to know how to survive, you know? Like, one example that me and Safari saw personally was we went into the Dollar Tree store. A homeless man was in there with his cat buying a tarp. And I explained to Safari, that is his home for tonight. You know, he is buying a tarp so that he could either put it under him and his belongings or put it over him for shelter while him and his cat sleep, you know? And I want to explain those things to my children so that they understand how other people live and how other people survive, you know? And whether my children decide to live in a fancy house in America and make millions, or whether they decide to stay in the village, I want them to know how to survive in more primal situations. And finally, we are doing more good here than in America. And that is definitely true in my opinion. In Kenya, we are able to reach a large audience with our YouTube channel and show the world how we live, and that the way we live or the way the people in the village live is not wrong or less than. And I've said that in many videos before. Living the village lifestyle is not wrong or less than. It's just different. You know, and some people will choose to live in a fancy mansion and have maids and butlers, and some people will choose to live in the village and have a mud house and have to fetch their water and wash their laundry by hand. One is not better than the other. They are just different. And I am the perfect example of that. I am white from America. If I wanted to, I could move back to America and I could get a nice house or apartment, and I could get a job that I made good money in, especially because I have 3 master's degrees, and I could provide for my family or my children in America. But do I choose to do that? No, I choose to be here in Kenya. And that's because I want to show people that there are many different ways of living, and they all have positives and they all have negatives, and it's important to explore those, or at least acknowledge them and be like, okay, people live different. That is a cool way of living. I wouldn't want to live that way, but she looks so happy living that way. And that is what I hope to get across from my YouTube channel. But when people live different ways, it's just different. Not less than, not better than. And for people who are watching these videos to see that we are happy. And that is the most important thing to us, that we are happy where we are. So I hope you got a lot from this video about why I personally would never move me and my family back to America. But I want to say that I know that people in America do live good lives. It just wasn't for us. So people in America living their life well there, I am very happy for them. And as I said, they're living different than me. They're not living better or worse than me. We are just different. And I hope that we could come together and talk about our differences, because that is something I really enjoy doing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you very soon in our next video. Bye.